The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Big Footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Flogcast for round 14. The emotionally checked out Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by the suburban netballer from Collingwood, Morgan Ashley.
Hello. And
from North, we have Bay 13's moral MVP, Dan.
Moral MVP. Oh, yeah, you're starting off with some funnies, aren't you? That's We'll know what you're talking about.
Goo or tears? Who wants to go first? What do we got?
Goo.
Okay. More glad she gets to go.
It's like I open the door and the person just barges in straight through beside me.
Be a gentleman, best friend. Open the door for a woman.
Well, I opened the door first and I had no idea you were behind me, and it's like you just barged straight on through. It's like, okay, then, sure.
Sorry that you're Daniel Jane Syracuse with bad fucking spatial awareness, mate.
You mean Cozzy?
Oh yeah, Cozzy, that's who it was.
Jane Syracuse, I knew that. You're Gia.
I'm Gia. You're Cozzy and I'm Gia, and I'm sorry about that, Dan, but you're going to have to deal with it. I've got Goo for Brandon Ellis.
The black armband?
Yes, and his black armband, I thought it was very nice tribute to somebody who he knew. I think it was very sad, and he played very well, and I like him a lot. So that's what I've got Goo for.
Yeah, legitimate goo. It's always hard to know what to say when someone has legitimate goo. We're not a very sincere podcast.
No, a lot of the times we're not, but sometimes you just have to take your hat off to somebody when they show what a good person they are, and I thought that he really did that.
I'm going to change my goo, and I'm just going to jump in here because Dan's still lying on the floor in the doorway.
He probably hung up.
That was a good moment, so I'll have goo for the other feel-good moment of the week now that you've mentioned that. The entire Todd Marshall reception on the Thursday, which, you know, it gets really wanky sometimes with the whole applause at whatever minute, blah, blah, blah. But I felt, for whatever reason, that was done really well, even up to the Crozier bit. It was authentic, it was sincere, which you don't normally get from Port Adelaide. Authenticity is not something you associate with Port Adelaide normally. Hello, never tear us apart. But that was genuinely nice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's good when the AFL community actually does do those moments well. Dan, did you want to do your goo or tears?
No, I don't think I had any goo or tears at all, period.
Okay.
I thought you were running through the door.
Mm.
What?
You were going to go first, and then Morgs bowled you over. You got amnesia. You've been concussed. Cozzy.
Yeah, I've got Alzheimer's.
Oh, sorry, Cozzy. I hope you're in the class action lawsuit.
Maybe I am Cozzy. I don't know.
You don't even know if you are.
I don't know who I am anymore. No, I've got nothing. I don't know. Okay. Goo or tears.
Before Morgs' goo prompted me, I actually had some other goo. I was going to have goo for the South Korean coach. The South Korean team in the friendlies basically all wore different numbers to the ones they're wearing in the World Cup to put off opposition scouts who couldn't tell the difference between their players. He's basically said Westerners can't tell the difference, so they're wearing different.
That is reverse owning racism. That
is literally that is holding the mirror up and going, you can't tell that we are. You can't tell who we are, so all your scouting reports are going to be all fucked up.
That's genius.
That is amazing.
That is absolute genius.
And it's just like, and you want to prove them wrong? I bet no one can.
That's so good.
It's not is it racist to say that they all look alike? Because
look, it is in a way, but at the same time, you'd be very hard pressed to tell the difference from a casual glance, or without being familiarized. It's the same thing with. There'd be plenty of other people who look the same, depending on your context. Like, if you get all the rangers together, Dan...
Yeah, I think rangers all look the same.
It's the same thing. If you got a whole bunch of them together that you'd never seen before, and you never really had, that sort of association with them, they'd look the same. Identical twins, for example. Normally you can tell them apart if you know them well, but if you don't, you can't. You get what I mean? Because they're not identical, they're close.
It's not a slur on the skin color though, is it? It's just their visual sort of appearance. I guess I don't know. It's just such a grey, slippery slope area now.
That's never bothered you before.
Well, that's because I'm not racist. I'm like, if
Well,
you
not to Gingy.
by your rationale, if I'm racist, then you're racist, and Morgan's racist, and Cookson's racist, because all the things that you guys have laughed at that you've deemed to be racist, I mean that puts you in a bad light just as much as me. Does that make sense?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I wasn't even listening. I'm still laughing at the fact that Cookson got in trouble with non-media.
Yeah, well, he fucks up every week, whether he's or not.
It's so good when Dan goes off somebody, he really goes off them.
I can't believe you left Penal off that list.
Oh, he's in it too. I mean, you're all as guilty as each other.
All of you.
There was one other thing you wanted to mention, Morgs?
Yeah, I was just going to have goo for the SBS. Talk about picking up the slack for a bunch of fucking flogs who can't get their shit together. Well done, SBS. I'm currently enjoying the fruits of the 48 hours of joy we're going to have.
Well done, SBS. I haven't watched this much SBS since I was 13. It's fantastic.
Same
SBS
time, though. Same time for night.
Yes, you're right. They're doing a very good job. Well done, SBS.
Sex between soccer. That's what SBS. Anyway, let's go into the recaps. And look, it's disappointing that Cookson's not here to go through what was clearly the most interesting result of the week.
No, that game. There's nothing.
No. Let's talk a little bit about St Kilda pinching it against the Suns and.
Oh man. Well, we could give St Kilda praise, or we could do what we normally do and focus on the more side of things, and ask. Well, we can't ask him, but I would ask him if he was here. What the fuck happened with his VFL team that didn't kick a goal on the weekend?
Yes, that was in the talking points.
Did not kick a goal.
VFL team listed players like superstars like
Josh
Goddard
Bruce
and Bruce,
Nathan Freeman,
Nathan Freeman,
goalless.
and all those guys who were in the Herald Sun on Saturday. But who the fuck are they? But it's a very nice piece of symmetry there when you have St Kilda and the Gold Coast, who are absolutely shit-house, fight out a very close game where they both probably deserve to lose for the way they played at certain points in that game. Are the two sides whose reserves have not kicked a goal this year, and they are anchored down in the bottom four.
Yeah.
Remember how we discussed cutting back the league a few weeks ago? I think you said banning Fremantle and someone, Dan, was it? Kicking them out? It's got to be St Kilda and Gold Coast. Your ones suck and your twos can't kick goals. Fuck off.
Yeah, like, I know it was bad conditions, and it was really bad conditions. But when the other side can kick 8 goals in the last quarter, you could at least sneak one through.
Like, it's wet. Just kick it and let it skid onwards, hopefully.
But it's not like they don't play somewhere where it's windy and rainy. They play on a beach too. Like, it's just the other side of the bay.
There's no excuse for it. This sort of thing only happens when you play footy at junior levels and you play against some really, really shit team that doesn't kick a goal and you end up winning by 200 points. That has happened a couple times when I played, and it's unfortunate, but if you're on the winning side, everyone gets to kick a goal. It's fantastic. It should. And
no one on the other team gets to kick one.
No. No one likes you. You're shit. So this shouldn't happen at the elite level with elite AFL players.
No, it really shouldn't. This is one step down from the top level.
But these are players that are paid to play at the top level, and they couldn't kick a goal.
Hopeless.
Like, it was the lowest score in history in the VFL. The lowest. How pathetic are you? And like, I love that happened the day after they celebrated the great success of beating the Gold Coast. Fucking, now we're up and now we're down.
Those anonymous uncontracted players might just stay uncontracted. Just on the Saints pinching that game. So they looked gone. Richardson looked like he was going to get the chop at 3/4 time.
I bet your fat Robbo had already written the article.
Yeah.
Too.
How were the Gold Coast Suns kicking 2 behinds in last quarters over the last 4 weeks? Like, that's snuck by, but that is pitiful.
Well, it's snuck by because no one gives a fuck. But,
well, that's true, but...
That's very true.
That is amongst the worst records I can think of. Like, the whole not winning a quarter, Morgs, you were right there on first quarter.
I was right again.
But just the fact that, when will they win a last quarter? Ever? How bad do you have to be not to
Yeah.
run out a game that you're 6 goals up in?
Did the AFL make a mistake on the Gold Coast?
I don't think so. Well, not in setting it up, but I think a lot of the ways that have happened since it was put there have been done about as wrong as you can do them.
Can they keep players there and draft players that will stay and convince people to...
That's their biggest issue.
So, but
Yeah.
Brisbane have now figured out how to get players to stay. And if you can get players to stay in Brisbane, surely you can get players to stay on the Gold Coast. It's a much better place to live.
Yeah, it's the culture thing though. Brisbane have got I think a few more locals, and they've got a few senior players that are happy. Whereas the Suns had the transient mercenary culture that Gary Ablett brought to the club.
God squad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
but
is going to be very hard to
go.
wash away.
That'll go, and it's going to take a while. They've got to first get
It won't happen
couple of
overnight, but it will
decent
happen.
senior player. Thank you, Vidal Sassoon. We've got to get a couple of decent players that are willing to go up there and stay up there, and then they can change the culture slowly. But they're going to lose Tom Lynch, and they need to just deal with that.
Get as much as they can for him.
Exactly right.
If they want to play hardball, they need to see what they can get.
Where's he going?
Well, either my team or Starburns' team, I would have thought.
Hawthorn, I think, believe they're in the running too.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I said they believe they're in the running.
Don't think there's been a player that's left a club in the last 20 years that Hawthorn haven't believed they were in the running for.
Well, St Kilda believe they're in the running too. Or Carlton as well.
I'd give you the hot tip. If you're not kicking a goal in the game, you're not in the running. I don't care if it's your reserves or not.
But no, you're right. And the thing about the Suns is everyone focuses on the on-field there and how bad they are. For a team as shit as they are, I'm pretty sure. What was the crowd on the weekend? It was pretty good for the Cats game. Like they're not.
It was 17,000 the week before. I can guarantee you, in 2 weeks when we play them, it'll be a good crowd.
Yeah, like it's not like the crowds are concerning.
yeah.
Like GWS have concerning crowds for a team that's moderately successful, but for I think they've only finished in the top 10.
Can't hear you, man.
Yeah, I can't hear you. It broke up.
For a team they've only finished in like the top 12 once.
No.
Their crowds are still pretty good.
No? Yeah. Sound like Robocop. Robocop. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
It's the aliens.
Starburns.
What?
He's been sucked to a black hole.
5. Mr. 5. Who just won?
Ground
Calling.
control to Major 5.
This is ground control to Mr. 5.
Oh, fucking shut up.
Oh, he's back. Hello. And he's hello. Doughboy, you there?
Yes.
Did you go get a slice of bread?
No.
No, I think
No.
it just keeps dropping in and out. Starburns, we genuinely can't hear you.
Okay.
We can't hear. Oh my! I think you're right. I think he's
Shut up,
dropping
Dan.
in and out. Hello, Starburns. Are you there?
But he doesn't know it. He doesn't know it.
Are you in Russia or something? What's going on? Come on, man. You're probably like 20 minutes away from me, and this is if you're on the other side of the planet, it would make sense.
Shut the fuck up, Dan.
Oh, we got that bit. All we got was "oh, shut up." If you said anything else, we didn't hit. We got shut up again. We heard that. Why?
Basically,
Why?
what I've said.
Whenever you say "shut up," that shut up gets through, but nothing else gets through.
Well, at least the important bit's getting through.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you're back.
Oh, what happened, man? Did you?
I wasn't actually saying that much. I was waiting for you to shut up.
We couldn't hear anything.
We couldn't hear you when you were babbling on earlier. We couldn't hear you.
It wasn't like,
Then it went
it
all
wasn't like
robotic.
before, though. It wasn't like
Yeah.
before. It was robots.
Yeah, it was Robocop.
I forgot what I was saying. It was something about the Suns crowds not being shit.
I bet
Yeah,
just-
they've been pretty decent. I'll be there in 2 weeks. Woohoo.
Let's move on from that game. Let's go to Geelong's home game at the MCG. Didn't go so well. God, it was funny they were so salty. It's like those wounds from the qualifying final of all the big bad Richmond fans have not healed over very well.
Did you boo them?
It wasn't like as one-sided as it was last year, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the upper class MCC folk don't boo at the MCC.
You want to bet?
Oh, I can guarantee. I was at
So
that game. I was at that final, and I can tell you everybody was booing.
You snobs
L
won't
Dub sat in the
participate
MCC and he
Mexican way,
chucked a
but
hissy
you're happy
fit.
to boo at people.
I was a neutral and I was booing.
It was pretty funny. Like, it was the same thing. Like, they got reasonable service out of Selwood and Ablett and a few of their other stars, and it was all the young spuds that we've been hearing about, you know, when they beat up on a few shit teams early in the year who played well, but those ones went missing on the weekend, and it's just concerning cats still, I think. Anything out of this game?
Yeah, I watched bits of this game. Richmond were okay. I don't really place much credence into wet weather wins, even though we play in a winter sport.
So, what about wet weather non-goal games? Do you place much credence in those?
Well, if Richmond are involved, I suppose. North lost to the Gold Coast in a wet weather game, and you know, we Suns a dog shit.
It wasn't as wet as the North vs Suns game.
Where was Cochin? He went missing again?
No, he played well.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
How many? What were his numbers? Let me have a look.
He got 18 disposals in a low disposal game that was played in the wet, Dan. There were only about...
18 disposals?
There weren't many players over 20 for the day.
Disposals the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and the other 2 games weren't his best. This one was.
I'm talking to a robot.
Oh, shut up about the fucking talk thing.
Well, listen, man, if I can't understand you, how can anyone else that's going to listen to this understand
because
you?
my recording comes through very clear on my computer. Just don't think about it too much if you don't understand it.
Thank God they get to listen to that instead of the shit that I'm listening to right now, because I'm talking to a demented robot. Anyway, Trenton Cochin was shit. He had 18 disposals. Joel Selwood had 29. Ablett had 25. There's like 6 other Geelong players that had it 20-plus times. Kane Lambert, that A-grader superstar, had 24
No one said...
disposals.
Oh, fucking shut up, Dan.
Do you want me to talk about the game and what happened or not? I mean, it's just...
No, you're just reeling off stats like it's some autistic person.
Well, stats matter, man. I mean, it's
Cochin stats matter.
Yeah, he's done nothing for 3 weeks.
No, he played well at the weekend.
Whatever.
It's about the eye test, Dan. It's not about fucking stats.
How was Rioli?
Rioli played well. Rioli got what was my favourite moment of the game was Rioli's goal, which...
It looked like a great goal.
The one, we moved it 100 metres without taking possession of the ball. It was great.
Yeah, he just kept forcing it forward and forcing it forward, then tackled.
I watched that, and I'm of the view that goals like that, where you earn the free kick for persistence and tackling, goals like that should win goals of the year instead of the fluke.
But it's a teamwork. It's teamwork though. There's 3 guys involved. Like goal of the year goes to a player.
Why can't teamwork be recognised as a goal of the year?
Oh, because it's not fucking PC world where everyone gets goal of the year.
Anyway,
you get goal of the year and you get goal of the year.
I would rather a goal like that be a winner instead of something fluky out of like a cheap goal from the boundary line or someone kicks a goal like that.
Cheap goal from the boundary line. Those require a bit of skill. Just a little bit of skill.
Cheap goal.
Cheap goal.
Do you get what I'm saying though?
I know what you mean, but I disagree. And also, it had an underwhelming finish. Like, it's a set shot that barely sneaks through. Like, everything up to the goal itself.
Hey, I'm trying to pump up your guy, and you just want to shit on it.
I don't want to shit on it. It was my favourite moment of the match. Probably my favourite Richmond moment for...
That was the only time I'm ever going to be sincere on here, and every other time I'm happy to shit on everything. You ruined it.
Tell us, was that your favourite moment ever, Starburns?
No. It was the best thing I've seen from Richmond in a while. Just that was one of the moments like, fuck, this is good to watch as it's unfolding. It's just like, this is really awesome. This is the brand as it's meant to be.
Yeah. It's like how I felt the week before when De Goey kept the ball in and him and Treloar ran the length of the field and Hoskinelli at gold. It was just like that. That's what I want to see. If that's the brand of football we play, then that's what I like.
Exactly right.
Not convinced.
The one other thing out of this game was the dusty umpire contact.
Oh yeah, I didn't think much of that.
You didn't?
How come this wasn't in the conspiracy thread? No one predicted that.
I don't think he should have got suspended, but I wouldn't be annoyed if he did, because that was really fucking dumb.
Just got a fine, didn't he?
He got a fine because he was technically demonstrating something. But if you notice the footage before it, he's not happy. It's not a good look.
Yeah, but it's nothing. Who cares?
But this is just going to continue to happen. If that had have been fucking Kane Lambert, maybe it was a different result comes up.
Yeah, if it was one of those shit truck Richmond players, then yeah, I mean...
What, like Cochin?
Yeah, they would have given him 3. I would have given him 3.
They would have given him another Brownlow. No, like, I hate it when it's one set of rules for one person and one set of rules for another, but you just know that they're not going to give Dusty a suspension for that, but if it was someone else, they would have.
I'm not convinced on that argument.
You don't think there's one set of rules for some players and one set of rules for others?
If Kane Lambert last year tucked his shoulder in to retrieve a footy and ended up taking someone's head out, would he have played in the grand final?
If in that situation, of course,
I don't think he would have.
There's nothing wrong with that attack on the football, and we're not going back to that autistic, Dan, because it's got nothing to do with the umpire.
Yes, we can.
So,
how often do you use your elbow to pick up something?
Ring.
Ding, 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 ding.
I think it mattered with fucking Tom Mitchell early in the season, but I think we saw with the Nat Fyfe one the other week that, maybe it would have been taking the piss to let him off, but I reckon the way he's playing at the moment, they would have done what they could. I think what we will learn at the end of the year, and I meant to mention this after he got suspended, we'll learn about Dan's Brownlow conspiracy theory, if that's legit, because if Fyfe doesn't win, then Dan might be right.
No, I am. I'm right. On this, I'm right, because the AFL hate having suspended players outpolling the actual winner. It doesn't change the result. They just want the actual winner to poll the most.
Well,
votes.
this will be the biggest test of it ever, because Fyfe is that far ahead, I imagine, that if he doesn't poll the most votes...
Well, expect him to get a lot of 1s and 2s in the back half of the season.
That'll probably still be enough. But I don't think in this case it's the case of who you are. I think sometimes that happens, but I don't think it was in this particular case, because Dusty's not going to win the Brownlow anyway. He's not had a good enough year for it to be even close.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Stephen May's sort of thing should be allowed. Dusty's probably could have been suspended, but at the same time, it's not as bad as what Hawkins did. So the Crows are continuing to be shit. Not only did they lose to Hawthorn, but they got absolutely embarrassed. The question I want to ask about this before we go into it is, if no one was there to see it, did it really happen?
Well, I'm sure Adelaide would probably like to think that way. I mean, they just give up every time they're on the road. They're hopeless.
They give up at home too, don't they?
Yeah, they give up everywhere.
Pretty hopeless everywhere. I don't know. Maybe that bus trip really did get to them.
Bus trip has to have fucked them. The collective minds has sapped all their minds, all their brain power.
Has there been a bigger fall from grace than this? Like, they were favourites to win a premiership.
Yeah. Where are they on the ladder now?
They're 11th and they're not trending upwards.
Yeah,
they've lost their last 4 games.
Like, they got trounced by us over there. Trounced.
But that was when they were still looking okay.
And that was when they were okay. Like, when they've lost really poorly.
Their last real good effort was when they, backs against the wall, rolled the Colders in about round 6, I think it was, or 7. But since then,
they had
it's
a
been
decent
very
game
bad.
against the pair, but...
They did, but they were in control of that and still coughed it up. That game might have head-fucked them too. They've had a lot of head-fuck efforts along the way. But
yeah, it was the image of Kern going 1-0 at them.
I love how they've come out and said that, it's not the camp, and the whole Eddie Betts thing story's getting a bit... I know it's Sam McClure, but it's growing a bit of legs. That, Eddie was the player who was not happy with the camp because, he had a pregnant wife and they took away his phone. Like, what sort of club is this?
Yeah, a wife that was pregnant with twins at home with small children and they took away his phone.
And it's like, no, you're not having your phone. It's much more important that you listen to the Richmond theme song than anything your wife's got to say.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, like, we asked last week what the problem with the culture was, that there's McGovern leaving and they're struggling. It's this sort of shit. There's something really amiss. It must be some South Australian barrel thing, but it's just no.
But why doesn't it affect the other club? Like, no one wants to leave Port Adelaide, really. Like, they don't lose big names like Adelaide do.
maybe it's the whole Sandful not interference, but the whole being set up as the club for
because
all
it's because they were born in a court.
In a court, the team for all South Australians, that they almost have this homogenous identity. They don't really, there's no pride in it. Maybe, I don't know. Like
just the pride of South Australia, and that's not enough.
No, well, yeah.
What pride are you talking about?
Nah, they're bad at football, and no one wants to stay there. And yeah,
No one wants to be with you.
no.
Nobody likes you.
I think that there's talent there, obviously, but clearly just the way they run it, there's something missing. Like even when their fans revolt, they do it the wrong way with the "we want answers" thing. We want to know why there's no more Crows chat. It's just like that's what you're caring about, and all the other shit they're asking about.
I blame the 19th man. Got to blame somebody.
How about Jeff calling out the Hawth fans for not turning up for Burgoyne's milestone?
What did he say?
80,000 members, only 26,000 turned up. He basically said that's not good enough.
Well, maybe they should change the pet policy, and they'd be able to get all their fans in.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were allowed, it wasn't just like kids getting free. Maybe if it was golden retrievers getting free, then all their members would
get in at all. They don't need to get in free. They've already got memberships.
Bring all your goldfish in the tub. They all have a pet membership.
They'll set up the pool like they do at the cricket. Dump your fish in here, babysit your fish, come back and hope you find it again.
They could have just used the big freeze pool.
No, Stewie Jew been in there.
Who ate all the fish? Who ate all the fish?
He looks like the sort of guy that would just mail down into sushi. He'd be at the what do they call those places
Buffet?
where they have the rotating? Yeah,
The
Oh,
sushi
no.
tray.
Yeah, the sushi tray.
yeah, the sushi. Oh, he would
Just
kill
imagine
it.
sitting
You would
a
have
couple
to
of
kill
seats down from him and
There's one
nothing's
of those-
arriving.
you like press the button, you're like the train's broken, and then you look to your right, and there's this guy with like 48 empty plates, just like
Tis no man, tis a monstrous eating machine.
no sashimi for you.
Nothing else on the Hawths as Crowbots.
Nah, congratulations to Sean Burgoyne, absolute champion of the game. It's a shame that no one turned up.
Yeah.
I guess they can't really criticise Geelong now about how they showed up for their fucking.
Well, no, they showed up. They left early. That was
Yeah, well, at least they turned. Well,
least
they
they
can't give them
arrived,
shit because at least they turned up.
as the Never Tear Up Our Tarp song goes. Well, at least they arrive. Coles rolled the Eagles on Friday night. What we got out of this?
It wasn't a very entertaining or high-scoring game.
No, boring game.
No Darling, no West Coast, almost.
It was very boring to watch.
I do want to bring up one particular thing, and it comes back to buddy meters from earlier in the year. So, Alex Rant's stage, there is no doubt about that. But Buddy Franklin does the exact same thing, and we get the same buddy thing. Buddy meters, buddy strikes, buddy excuses, buddy everything.
I don't think it was as bad as Rant though.
Oh, it was basically the same. They get a small touch as they're leaning towards the ball and they fly forwards. The only difference was Rance ends up on the floor.
Rance looked like he was at Wet and Wild on the Gold Coast, whereas Franklin was probably not as excited and going
It's
down
the same thing though. It's the same exaggeration of contact. Like neither of them should be getting bustled aside by that. But when it's Buddy, we have excuses made.
The meme of Lance, Rance, and France was so good.
That's not. I haven't seen that, but I can just picture that because it would be that one guy from France who kept falling over. But yeah, I got nothing else out of the Colas versus Eagles game. I didn't see Kenny there, so maybe that's why they won. I wasn't going to join him in the circle.
Isn't he dead?
What? No,
He died.
Kenny didn't. Do you think Kenny would have died with it going unnoticed by like everyone?
I bet most people at that club would be relieved that he
Yeah, but not publicly.
Oh, well, fair enough. Okay, all right. Because he basically takes up the whole bloody section there behind the goal, and no one can sit next to him.
No one wants to sit next to him.
Yeah, but it should be for the cheer. Instead, their
He
cheer
is
squad's
the
on
cheer
like
squad.
forward flank.
There is no cheer
No,
squad.
there's
It's just
plenty of
Kenny
spare seats.
and Mavis.
This is going to sound really inappropriate and morbidly wrong. If he decides to just to die whilst they're doing the
Decides
the
to.
team song
He
circle,
just says, "I've had enough."
it's like, do they continue singing or do they attend to Kenny? I mean, it's going to be a little.
Oh my
It's going to
god!
be live.
The song killed Kenny.
Of
You
all the
bastards.
things that are going to kill him, the one thing that he loves is
Died doing what he loved.
I'm a horrible person. Why do I think this stupid shit?
If it,
Kenny, if you're listening, I don't, it's all love. I don't.
Oh,
oh, love.
It's all fun and games.
look at Cookson backflipping here. Let's move on from that game. We talked about teams that are shit and not
my
kicking a goal
God.
for the whole game.
This
Carlton
fucking game.
didn't kick one for a whole
It's
half,
mad
and it didn't
you
look
not
like they were
kick
going
a
to kick
goal
one
for
for
a
the whole
half.
game.
But you made Fremantle look presentable by allowing them to kick 100 points in a game.
Only
Probably-
just in the end. They let them get to 70 odd at half time, and Freo only just cracked the ton. It's almost like Lions saw the scoreline and went, "Oh, we can't score any more than that."
Carlton are terrible, man.
Oh, they are dead set rabble.
But are they ever going to come under any scrutiny?
I think the blowtorch is coming pretty
Why
hard
is
this
it
week.
Okay, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that it's just okay for them to be this shit. Still,
Well, I think people are just used to it. You know, like Carlton are at the bottom end of the ladder, and they're terrible, and you know they're going to lose their mark on. As far as I'm concerned, he wants out, and I don't blame him. He had no choice when he was drafted as an 18-year-old to go to Carlton. He probably thought, oh yeah, they'll be shit for a few more years, and then they'll rise up. Nope, they've been shit for 12 years since he's been at that club, and they've wasted his career. He's now 30, and he probably has 1 or 2 years left. I need to get out of here and finish my career at somewhere more respectable. A team that wants to win.
it's funny that the president's only now coming under any sort of... Dan, do you know who the president of Carlton is?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Literally, that guy takes less responsibility than Dan.
Hey,
He has been hiding in some back room at Optus Oval for the whole time.
Just wait till he organises a hit on Brendan Bolton
Oh, he's probably been sitting in the stands like they used to do.
on Underbelly.
And that's the belly.
He's there. Him and Sauce are there.
We need to go back to that scene in Underbelly when they were sitting there in the stands. They're talking about how, like, the players are training, talking about how shit the year's going to be. They won a flag that year.
I do remember that. You could translate it for almost any year since, though. It was made in the early 2000s.
But the 1 year it didn't apply was that year.
Yeah, but no, they are a rabble. I think the blowtorch is coming, but at the same time, it's become this thing that how often can you say that Carlton are shit?
Yeah. How many
Yeah,
articles
it's
can you write about them being shit before? Like, and no one's buying it to read it because no one fucking wants to know.
It's like when Melbourne was shit. No one was really talking about Melbourne as shit. It's like Melbourne is shit. Like at least when Richmond was shit, there were ninth jokes. But Carlton can't even get that high.
you know what the worst thing about this, and I'd hate being a Collingwood supporter because you know that they're going to respond and they might actually win.
No,
And then they'll go
don't
back,
be
and
silly.
then they might go back to being no. They might listen. They might win. They might not. But they will have a much better performance the next week, and then after that, it'll just go back to being shit again for the rest of the year.
Well, that's what St Kilda will probably do. But yeah, okay, they might put in a better performance and it'll go back. But that happens with everything.
That's fine. I don't care if they put in a better performance, but if we lose, I will be fucking ropeable. Absolutely fucking ropeable.
You know, Cruiser could just take a big crap on Grundy, and
Mhm.
Ed Curnow was going to destroy
Ed Kern.
Pendlebury. Who else has Carlton got? Cripps is going to touch it 40 times. Holy shit, they might actually beat Collingwood.
You've got some big players. Keep going, Dan. Who else?
Well, who plays a full forward
Gibbs.
that Lyndon Duncan shit on?
Gibbs?
Gibbs plays for Adelaide.
Oh, I was wondering whether you picked up on that.
God.
Oh, they got Simpson. Kate Simpson.
He's not Teach. Fucking hell.
Kate Simpson,
You know-
Dan.
you
He's
know-
nearing his 300th.
Kate-
Poor bastard. 300 games at Carlton in this era.
Hey, yeah, it's sad. He deserves a cheering off, that guy.
No, most of them don't have the spines to do it.
They've probably been cheering him off every week, but no one sticks around to know.
Well, it would be a change from him carrying them around on his shoulders like he's done for the last few years. Sam Doherty, Dan, he's all right.
Hit his knee earlier in the year.
Oh, you are switched on.
Oh, like a light.
Well, you're going to tell me Dennis Pagan's an all right coach, and they'll have.
What do you mean? The coach is Brett Ratton.
That's Silvani plays in the forward line.
Right, they'll get Koudafides back. They'll get who's another guy that they used to play?
Lawrence Angwin.
The flying doormat.
Yeah, him, the bandana guy. You get
Helen D'Amico is going to be in the crowd.
Christou Wolf. He'll come back. He should come back in the team.
Half these names we're listing would probably improve their side at the moment.
Glenn Manton, the Bolt.
Glenn Manton, the world's shittest football. Played football.
You'd be shit too if you had a bolt through your snag.
Well, no, I would just be an average human being and wouldn't have a bolt in my snag. How about that?
You're already an average human being.
Well, it could be worse. Starburns.
Puffers versus the Dogs didn't matter, and I don't think there's any more on Freo Carlton, is there?
Yeah, we can skip this game. The Dogs are shit.
Yeah, Dogs are shit. Same old story. Puffers skied. Not much to say apart from Watts got dropped, and well, I think that was probably overdue. Let's go to the talking points. We were on Freo, so we will come back to Nat Fyfe talking about retiring after the grand final because he didn't want to get back there.
Bullshit.
Bullshit? You think he lied?
Yeah, there's no way he would retire.
Liar of the year material, Morgs?
How old is he? He's 26. Fuck off.
No, he said he was pondering giving the game away.
I don't care.
Fyfe said he was pondering giving the game away.
Bullshit.
After they lost the grand final, like 5 years ago, he was considering retirement.
What elite footballer in his mid-20s?
He was his early 20s then, but he clearly wasn't feeling, according to him, wasn't feeling the passion for the game or whatever. Well,
Robbo's saying it's fake news. Claims that Nate Fyfe was going to retire.
Fyfe said it himself in a podcast. It literally came from the horse's mouth. I don't care what
he said. He's full of shit. He's lying.
So is he liar of the year then?
Well, I don't know if he's liar of the year, but he's certainly lying. You think that there's truth behind what he was saying?
I don't know. He doesn't strike me as Dangerfield level attention whore to say something like that when it's not true. Oh, poor me! I nearly retired.
Like, what would he do if he retired? Because he comes from some rural nobody place in WA.
Maybe he'll go back there with a bit more money than he left.
Oh, so maybe he was going to retire so that he can fulfill his. Shut up. So he can. so that he can fulfill his destiny to become a woman.
Let's move on from Nat Fyfe to talking point for Morgs. I must be missing something in the goo on this particular subject, but Gary Pert to Melbourne has caused great mirth amongst Collingwood supporters. So please fill us in about why this is so lolsy.
Oh, because Gary Pert's the scapegoat. We got rid of him last year, and now look, we're good. So it's his fault.
So you don't believe that, but everybody else clearly does.
Look, he drove Jeff Walsh away, and then Walshy came back when he left. He clearly divided people. He didn't let Travis Cloak park where he wanted to. So Melbourne are going to have some severe parking issues over the road.
Who would be the one who would try and park in his car park spot? Who at Melbourne would be that player?
Probably Clayton Oliver, entitled little redhead fuck. Not Nathan Jones, because he's never been allowed to park. Look, there was a lot of talk that everybody at the club hated Gary Pert, and Gary Pert wanted to be involved in too much football department stuff, and that wasn't his role. but he took it upon himself to inject him, or not inject, don't say inject, to make that his business, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
So he's Jerry Jones'd it.
Yeah. He's tried to make it not Eddie Land. He tried to make it Purdy Land, and that didn't go down well. When your claim to fame is that you are the guy holding up the dude taking the mark of the Super Bowl, probably best to stay in the background, fuckface.
It's pretty funny to see how fucking Malthouse comes out afterwards. It's like, oh, his fault. It's like Mick manages to get the angry sniping out of the way whilst somehow endear himself back to Collingwood.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
I liked that he gave him a whack, because I think that's funny. But again, it's not about you, mate. Like, move on. We've all moved on. No longer, when people talk about Collingwood, do they talk about you. So
they talk about you when they talk about Carlton.
Yes, you have had another job since lost that. So you need to move on.
And they still haven't recovered.
And they may never recover. Well done, Michael. No,
you killed Carlton.
I think it's funny. Oh my God, you killed Carlton. You legend. Yeah, whatever. I don't think it's the great signature that the Melbourne board were thinking. As soon as I heard the news, I went to the Melbourne board and they seemed pretty excited by it. They were all like, finally, we've done something right. I was like, oh, you don't know.
Maybe you need to read that when he gets fired eventually or leaves eventually. There's like a mega match day thread.
Yeah. So it was so funny to see the contrasting opinions between the Melbourne board Gary Pert thread and the Collingwood board Gary Pert to Melbourne thread. It's very good. Just like how two people who know the same information can think two totally different things.
But I guess it's coming from the different lenses, whereas you're aiming higher, whereas they're just like, oh well, he was at a successful club once, he must be okay.
They're like, hey, that club won a premiership once and we didn't hire from within, so it must be good.
Mm-hmm.
He never played here. Must be good.
Apparently that pissed a few people off that they didn't hire from within. Like, that was what Jackson was aiming for, and the board came in and said, nope, Pert's our guy. It's like Ross Glendenning medal all over again. It's just like you got the system in place and the president and someone else come in and go, nah, this is what we're doing.
Didn't they think that Marnie was going to get it? Or?
I honestly, I don't know who, but apparently that's the story, that yeah, it's a few people's noses might be out of joint over being told that a chance.
Josh Marnie has been like runner-up to every job in the world. Like, he must just be flicking his CV out every time something pops up on Seek, because he's never getting them.
Born to runner-up.
Yeah.
Nothing else on Pert in Melbourne, but I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. I'd be interested to see him claim the success if they ever get there, considering all the pieces of the puzzle were put in place long before him. And hopefully it doesn't happen this year, because I don't want to be Demon.
Pieces put in place by Paul Roos, yeah.
Oh, bullshit.
Well, you know, he'll take credit.
Oh, yeah, it'll be us again then. It'll be us. Not them.
Nothing else? No other talking points?
Oh, my mid-season review that I won a ticket to is happening on the 3rd of July, so that's exciting.
Are you going to steal anything?
Oh, well,
is there anything to steal?
Absolutely. Well, you never know. I don't know what kind of room we'll be in. We'll give it a crack. Let's see what I can walk away with.
Premiership Cup.
Well, no. They would notice that. They noticed the goal-kicking trophy that no one wanted. But this is not at Crown, so that's a good sign, because security was at a maximum there. So this would be like minimum security. So the chances of me getting away with it are better. Like
the prisons Collingwood supporters don't go to.
Yeah, that's right. Like the remand centre one that someone escaped from. Did you see the one escape from the remand centre near Etihad?
No, that's pretty concerning.
Yeah, they're like, it's a minimum security. Why have we got a minimum security remand centre right near the city? That's silly. How about we put some more security there? Anyway, So if anyone has any ideas of questions that I could ask at the review.
I have one thing.
What?
Scott Pendlebury, you are an unaccountable cunt.
I'm going to ask if our turnaround in form is due to our captain becoming more accountable. Due to his a very accountable performance when he tagged Cripps. Everything turned around then.
Oh, so Cripps won't get 40 on the weekend, Dan.
I
Pendlebury
reckon I could
shut
get
it
away
down.
with that. I could
Might get
definitely
kicked
get away
out.
with that. That's all right.
It's all right. I'm used to it now. I get kicked out of common stuff all the time.
Yeah, but that was at Crown. That was much scarier than if you get kicked out of like the glass house. Who cares?
Yeah, it probably happens all the time when people try and nick stuff from the store.
Mm.
Or when Aaron hovers around training.
Yeah, so post any questions I can ask in the thread. Oh yeah, weird. Well, I'm very interested to see like who it's with, like who's taking this thing.
Not Gary Pert.
And I told my mum about it. She's like, make sure you tell them that we went to the Gold Coast just before, that weekend before. You tell them that. Tell them that that's how important it is to you that you went to the Gold Coast. I was like, shut up, Mum. She's like, no,
you went and
tell
watched
them.
Gold Coast play.
She's like, you tell them that you... Well, I'm watching Gold Coast Collingwood.
I know.
And she's like, you tell them that you've been a member since you were 2 years old and blah, blah. I was like, Mum, you're a real dick now. I'm not saying any of these things. I wanted some funny questions. So her questions are not on the list. It says in the thread, a mid-season review of the team hosted by Collingwood Football Club key personnel from the football department, providing insight into how the team is tracking behind the scenes.
How do you know they'll let you? How do you know they'll let you in anyways, given you were kicked out? They might have your
They won't
photo.
remember her. Do you reckon they have a
won't
picture of her
remember.
up at the door?
Imagine if they had a picture of everybody that had stolen from Collingwood.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, how
It
would
would be like...
allowed to go in?
They wouldn't let Chris Mayne in because
Can I-
he stole a
do
fucking
you-
paycheck every week last
Hey.
year.
Questions. The only one this week is from Bosk.
Oh, that's okay.
Is that because we didn't ask for questions?
This one was yesterday at 2:30, so it was before I would have asked anyway. Some people just come out and ask anyway. I think, did Dan scared Pakenham saying not Cookie off last week? Good on you, Dan. So Bosk wants to know, given Richmond are unbeatable at the MCG, will it be the choke of the millennium if they qualify for 2 home finals but fail to win the flag?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
because Hawthorn 2012.
Yeah, but Richmond, man. I mean, come on.
Hawthorn 2012 lost to a Sydney.
Starburns
Philly.
has his yellow and black glasses on.
We take the piss out of the cunt who asked the question, you dickheads.
Oh, you don't like it when we agree with the question?
I don't really
asker?
care.
Oh,
I don't-
I think you do care.
Stop
You
trying
get
to
very
spin
uppity
your own
when
narrative.
we talk anti-Richmond,
We get
don't
uppity
you? I
when
mean,
you talk anti-Richmond. Because you flick the autism on. It's the
Come
same.
on,
It's the
man.
same
Just
thing.
thrill-
Not
just-
again.
relax, will you? It's just, one person's opinion. You don't have to get all upset about it.
I'm not upset about it.
There's no need to be upset.
My club all the time. I don't, get all upset and throw the pot. Just relax.
Anyway, this week on the Bay, thread of the week.
Can we just give it to the one from last week because it's grown. It's the thread is just hilarious.
What, aren't they talking about fucking science fiction in there? Bosca's talking about fucking robots.
Yeah, it's gone
Did,
wacky.
did anyone else see that?
Yeah.
No, I stopped going back in there.
Yeah, Bosca's talking about how there'll be sex robots in the future. And how it'll be normal.
Sometimes a thread jumps the shark. Yeah, you're talking about sex robots. You've jumped the shark.
Who stickied it?
Me.
Oh, of course.
As soon as I stickied it, it turned to shit.
So Boy Dogs was right.
No, that one doesn't deserve it on the basis of this. Hashtag We Want Answers AFC wasn't bad from established 1997.
Yeah, I liked that one.
Mothra's one about what did the Crowbots do to Eddie? Dastardly Crowbots do to Eddie.
Who edited my thread about the badge prize?
Probably
title-
one of the other mods.
It was meant to be Le Fags. It's now Le Frogs.
Well, yeah, I don't think we can say fags anymore, Dan.
Why not?
I'm going to go ahead and say because... What? I really shouldn't need to explain why.
Homophobic?
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, that would be the word.
Well,
Yeah.
I could mean fags in like cigarettes,
But you don't.
but I don't.
No.
Haha.
I was going to say that makes no sense, but with the French it actually does.
Oh yeah, they all start smoking when they're kids, don't they?
Yes. Any other thread of the week noms?
No. I liked established 1997's thread.
Oh yeah, Lethality had a good thread about Damien Hardwick being the GOAT.
Dickhead. I want to give an honourable mention for the... It's not quite a second post SmackDown, because one, it was the third post, and two, it's not SmackDown. But
Dan?
thread, my
Dan?
reaction when...
Dan, how much is it killing you not to say anything?
I know. I wanted to say. I wanted to say something, but I can't. Because how dare I complain about the sound that I can't understand and not respond to?
Okay, shush.
Shame on me.
Yes, shame on you.
Yes, we've got no idea what you
Okay.
said.
It's not quite a second post SmackDown, because it's the third post, and it's not really a SmackDown, it's just lols. But the thread, my reaction when Gary Pert announced as Melbourne's new CEO by the poster Duck Toaster, purely for the Ugak shoop. There's the picture of the toaster with the duck face. It's got the duck toast on it, and then Ugak shooping John Selwood's head coming out of the toaster. I don't know why. And McCrab's with the first reply. I don't know. It just made me laugh a lot. Honourable for that. Yeah. And there's a nice video, the Gary Pert's parking spot gif.
The thread on the Collingwood board, like every second post was, I hope no one parks in his spot. So after like 3 pages of this, I came in and was like, anyone mentioned the car park yet? Just endeared myself to them.
Vlog of the week. What do we got?
Dan, for inviting Chisholm.
I didn't really. It was a joke. I just wanted to see if you reacted or not, and you didn't. So
No, not behind
No.
Dan for promising a badge he couldn't deliver.
Dan for being a Welsh.
For welching.
that hasn't been decided
Collingwood.
yet. That's still coming. Don't you worry. It's coming.
No, but on good authority, it's not.
Well, I can find other means to have that badge delivered.
Go on, send Anne a PM. Like, Starburns won't do this.
Starburns gave me an SFA badge.
I won't exactly be grovelling like that, but I probably will send him a message if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, Dan gets a nomination. Boss gets a dishonourable for trying to normalise owning a sex robot.
Oh, God. Who would want to own one of those things?
Sex pillow.
What? Sorry, you're quiet now.
You speak up.
Yeah. Don't harp on it, Dan.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we can
Yep,
hear you
that's
now.
better.
I said, would the sex robot need a sex pillow?
Does a sex robot need a sex pillow? Sexception, I think.
Just what's wrong with everyone's Skype? I can't hear or understand people. You guys using dial-up internet or something? What's going on?
I don't know. It's bad luck.
Like every third word that you say, Starburns gets missed.
Okay, Dan.
I will stop on it because
Right.
I need to understand what people are saying so that I can respond
Any
accordingly.
other flog of the week?
Shut.
C3PO.
Ding ding ding
understand?
ding 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 ding.
Shut
Can you hear those? Ding ding ding
Dan.
ding 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 ding.
Shut. Don't. Shut.
That's clever.
Don't, Dan.
Now you just sound like a robot that's trying to beatbox. Just don't do it.
Boss could have sex for that.
The robot slang I can't even understand it as it is. You don't need to make it more complicated. Can you release 2 versions? Can you release the clear version that everyone's going to hear, and the absolute shit that I have to listen to? please. Because it's been terrible.
The shit. The absolute shit.
I'm going to get audio cancer in my ears because of all this crap.
You know what I am going to release? A nice bit of outtakes of Dan cracking the shits. The absolute shit that I have.
Because it has been. It's been absolute shit. You have no idea how bad it is how it ends. I'm trying my best to
Can that
bite
be
the
the
lip.
title? The absolute shit. But we really did try not to mention it.
Well, we can only
Well,
so long because it's
well, we did. We were not mentioning it, and then when it happened to you, Dan just no, it's too much. It's not just me now. It's the absolute shit. Any other dishonorables for Flog of the Week?
Oh, everybody in the song contest thread who annoyed me this week. Because I won and I made Year of the Ruse the host. And then he picked a shit theme, so I fired him and I made someone else the host. And then everybody lost their minds. So now we have 2 hosts and 2 playlists. And the person who has the most votes from each is the winner.
I want to stay on general discussion purely for... I haven't got to this, I've only heard the gist of it. But the women dating down thread and GG, are you up to where he's apparently... He's gone into full dick measuring?
No. I have seen the thread. I haven't seen GG's work.
Apparently it literally becomes a dick measuring contest somewhere along the way. With him at the centre, of course.
I noticed that Chief came in at one point with the hashtag no dates for GG. I'm guessing it goes downhill from there.
Dan is our winner, yes?
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
For the absolute shit we have to put up with.
well, it's not just been shit on it's been shit on your end too. And it would be shit on anybody else's end if they have to listen to foreign robot talk and whispering cretin.
What do you got against foreign robots, Dan?
Well, I say foreign because I can't understand a word you're saying when you speak robot. Don't speak robot. Just speak proper, please.
Beep boop beep
Beep boop.
beep. Anyway, moving on to...
I did the tips last week.
May as well do them again then. You wanted to tell us about how Carlton are going to beat Collingwood, so please go ahead with the tips, Dan.
I said that they were going to have a better performance, and they might.
No, you were talking up how their 3 stars were going to dominate.
You said you'd hate to be a Collingwood supporter.
Because they're going to bounce back. You know how football works.
Well, okay, so tip them then.
All right. So am I doing these now or not?
Yeah, you're doing these now. West Coast versus Essendon on Thursday.
West Coast.
Puffers versus Melbourne.
Puffers.
Hawks versus the Suns.
Hawks.
Will the Suns kick a goal in the last quarter?
No.
This is for everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes, sure. Why not?
Peer pressure. Bryans versus the Giants.
Giants.
Dogs versus North.
North should win. This would be embarrassing if they don't win this game.
I'd hate to be a North supporter.
I hate being a North supporter anyway. It's just terrible.
I couldn't tell.
You hate everyone else being North supporters.
No, I don't hate the fact that they're North supporters. I just hate the fact that they're just weird and they just want to lick my arsehole all the time.
You know, Morgs, you know how you said how 2 different sets of people can see things so differently?
Yeah.
Dan's perception of North supporters versus, like, everything else. They all want to lick Dan's asshole. They're all like, oh, Dan's got a bit of autism about him.
Oh, I wanted to give it, I forgot weeks ago, to give a shout out to that North supporter who got Jai Simpkin off his charge.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
He
How
is a superstar.
fantastic.
Yes.
What a
And he
fucking
deserves a lot
star.
of praise.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can we just stop for a second there? So that guy slowed down the footage and broke it down.
No,
Yeah.
he took screenshots. Yeah, he took screenshots.
Screenshots frame by frame.
Don't North pay someone already to do that?
They probably do, but this guy had the announce to sort of come up with it first, and they used it in the trial.
I loved everything about it. I loved that they gave him credit for it. I loved that the next day that Jai Simpkin came out and thanked him. Thought it was fucking brilliant all round.
They should allow him to sit in a box or renew his membership for next year for free.
Do you like that North supporter, Dan?
Yes, he is the rare exception. And that guy actually does a lot of YouTube content for the North board. So he wins the Poster of the Year award on that board every year. His name's
He's
Giant.
definitely going to win it this year. He could not post again.
Didn't he get in trouble for posting videos?
No, they plagiarise his stuff all the time. They're hopeless at North. When it comes to, well, they're good, but when it comes to YouTube content and showing like highlights and things like that, they steal a lot of his material, even though it's technically theirs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They steal a lot of his material, even though it's technically theirs.
Well, his ideas they steal, and it's so blatant.
Like it's they own the footage, but he.
I know.
Yeah, but he.
Oh, but we know what you're saying. It's just the way you phrased it.
I agree with you, Dan.
Yeah. So he's a star, and
yeah, well done, Giant Roo.
Giant Roo, yes, he's a star, and they should renew his membership for free next year. We'll put him in a box at the game or something.
Maybe they can rig a raffle for him.
Yes, because that's what we do at North Melbourne. We rig raffles. We have winning cars. We have little legends winning cars, and then they donate their car back to the club to win afterwards. That's what they do.
Donate.
Why are you mad, Dan?
Oh, because this podcast brings it out of me, I suppose.
Because of the absolute bullshit.
Because it is bullshit. That we have all this robotic crap, and then he gets frustrated for us calling it out, even though we can't understand a word he's saying. Dial-up internet was 1996. All right, we're in 2018.
So this upsets you because you get called out for pronunciation errors.
The occasional error gets brought up. I think it's unnecessary. We have other people who can't tell the difference between their T's and their F's. No,
that's why I said it. I was waiting for you to pivot back there.
Don't be a coward, Dan. Don't be a coward. Don't be the Andrew Mackey of podcast.
He's not the Andrew Mackey. He's like the Kale Morton. Push and run away.
No, well, who would want his signed jumper? I mean, that guy's just not very.
Brever would want his signed jumper.
Yeah, he probably would too. That's why I made that joke.
Brever owns his signed jumper.
That'll get him like $1 on eBay, maybe.
Last game that we didn't actually tip. So would you like to be a Collingwood supporter, Dan, on Sunday?
I wouldn't like to be a Collingwood or a Carlton supporter, really. I think they're all feral.
Who would you like to be least?
Probably Collingwood.
So Carlton are going to win?
They might win. I don't think they will.
Well, it's tipping time.
Possible. Tipping. Oh, I know it's tipping time. See, listen, I would happily tip Collingwood, but you're trying to push me into tipping Carlton because of something that I said earlier in the.
Because we're trying to get you to stand behind your own words, Dan.
Just want you to be accountable.
I will tip
Pendle
Carlton.
Dan.
Good boy. Well done, Dan.
And they might win. And you're going to give me 20 MVP.
Oh!
Right? Instead of this 5 yearly bullshit points, I'm going to get 20 for Carlton winning.
5 yearly bullshit.
I want a point for every point that Carlton win by. So if they win by 100 points by some miracle, I want 100.
Bullshit payment, eh, Morgs?
Yeah, no, give it to him. However many points
give it to
Carlton
me.
win by, give him the points. And I want, however many points Collingwood win by, I want them. And if they win by 100, I want 100 points.
Yeah, give her 100 points. Give some points. Be Santa Claus for a change, instead of being a tight ass.
Stop being the Grinch, Starburns.
Santa Claus gives coal to the bad kids, Dan.
I'm not a bad kid. I'm a good kid.
It's just misunderstood.
Anyway, this was the Vlogcast for round 14. Starburns.
Yes, this was the Vlogcast. This is great.
Joined by Dan.
I'm sure the audio from your end will be fine.
Ring a ding ding.
All you
ring
loyal
a ding,
listeners
ding.
out there,
Ding ding ding.
you won't be hearing any robotic noises or whatnot.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Starburns joined by Dan
Yeah, see you later.
and Morgs.
Absolute shit.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.